I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite games. It's gotten very hot lately, but it was actually developed several years ago, only to languish in relative obscurity until it was played by a certain attractive young lady. Of course, the game I'm referring to is called chess. But I don't want to talk about normal chess. Normal chess is a nice game to play with your grandma while you watch Ken Burns' Civil War at 0.75 times speed. I want to talk about the way chess was meant to be played, with the urgency of a field medic tying a tourniquet to a captain's arm with mini balls flying over their heads. I'm talking about bullet chess.
To the town of for a bullet.
Look, I'm not some tucked shirt chess club nerd. I wanted to be, but the nerds in the chess club said I was a loser and stuffed me in my locker. So my experiences with chess growing up were more or less like my experiences with something like Monopoly. Casual, occasional, and somehow always a little less fun than you remembered. I had a brief phase in elementary school where I played regularly with a friend of mine. He gave me the following advice. Before you move, you should look at every single square on the board. That's a lot of looking at squares for this critically low attention span. Fast forward to grad school, some of my classmates would play in the lounge area, but what they were doing was different than what I had done before. They were whipping pieces around after only a few moments of thought, then slamming a timer back and forth in a pulsating rhythm. I eventually worked up the courage to ask to play. Palms sweating and arms spaghetti, I think I set some kind of record for the most times getting checkmated in 7 minutes. Okay, I thought, this is amazing. In that moment, I realized that my experiences with chess had been missing a key ingredient: time pressure. Once I found that, it was all love. As it turns out, time is an essential part of all competitive chess. Chess without a timer is like basketball with no shot clock, or like Rocket League where every person could take as long as they wanted to think about their inputs for every individual frame of play. Even in classical chess, seen as the game's gold standard, there are time limits. But those limits are really long and games can still last for hours. For my money, I like chess faster. Like way, way faster. My favorite time control is called bullet, where each side gets 1 minute to make their moves. That's not 1 minute per move. That's 1 minute for all of your moves. Wait a second, you say. No, you don't have a second. Sorry, I got carried away. What was your question? How would you even be able to think about your moves, you ask? Yeah, exactly. Forget everything you know about the austere game of kings. Gone are the brandy-sipping, bemonocled gentlemen strategizing at close quarters for a long, silent afternoon. Now we're crushing up the board and injecting it into a rocket engine. If classical chess is like doing your laundry in a washing machine with a half a scoop of detergent, then speed chess is like playing paintball with Tide Pod guns. If classical chess is eating chips with a nice pico de gallo, then speed chess is drinking a shot of Tabasco sauce. Classical chess is tracing the patent drawing for an A-bomb. Speed chess is diffusing a timed explosive on national TV in your underwear. It is a rush, and I'm a bit of an addict. I got into chess about 7 years ago. Since then, I've played almost 20,000 games. And that's just bullet, just online, just on chess.com. I don't even want to tell you how many times during the writing and producing of this video that I opened up a new tab and started throwing pieces around. My wife hates it because it means that I'm always like 87 seconds away from being able to do whatever it is she needs from me, which isn't really a big deal if the dishes need to be washed, for instance, but pretty unideal if, say, I'm her belayer. I play over the board whenever I can, too. I've even made the pilgrimage to Washington Square Park in New York City, where I happily donated an ATM withdrawal's worth of $5 bills for the privilege of getting my backside handed to me repeatedly by the chess hustlers there. So I guess you could say that I'm an advocate. And I think that if you're going to get into chess, speed chess is the way to go. Alright, so speed chess has haters. To its critics, speed chess loses most of the beauty of the game. In a longer game played by true chess geniuses, you might see some incredible novelties and deep strategical ideas, and you're almost never going to see stuff like that in the quick and dirty games. While I understand that, I think the critics of speed chess are missing some of the bigger picture. I think that the sloppiness can be a feature and not a bug. It gives more room for traps, dubious gambits, photo finishes, pre-moves, mouse slips. It really feels like an esport. There's even a healthy dose of trolling. What you lose in profoundness, I think you more than make up for in fun. And if it's humans playing, especially non-professionals, I think fun is the priority. Besides, if you really want groundbreaking chess, your best place to look is probably AIs, who are light years ahead of the farthest any human will ever get in this game. Here's the other thing. Classical chess has its problems too. The chess community has been wringing its soft, pale hands about how often games end in draws for years now. In the last World Chess Championship, the reigning champ and his challenger played 12 games in a row. All 12 were draws. Imagine a 12-game NBA Finals series where both teams scored exactly the same number of points until everyone just gave up and went home. Why is this? Well, it's theorized that with perfect play, chess would always be a draw. And in this nearly perfect recent game by two of the top players in the world, this point was all but proven. Even without perfect play, chess doesn't always reward taking risks, and great players can usually get a draw if they need one. So you get a lot more sister kissing than is interesting or optimal. But not so in speed chess, where you pretty much always have a winner. The last thing that purists say is that speed chess is a bad habit that makes you a bad chess player. Since you can win just by making your opponent run out of time, called flagging, its critics believe speed chess will teach you only to play fast rather than to play well. To that I say, yeah, I'm a flagger, and guess what? I've been flagged. I have been in a million games decided by nonsense moves that no human being could think through the ramifications of in time. And guess what? It's hilarious. I wouldn't change a thing. Call me when you can sue people for having fun. And you know what else? You do get better at slow chess by playing speed chess, because you're actually playing chess. Who among us has 3.5 hours on any given day to play classical time controls, much less to do so often enough to get any good at the game? If your choice is to sneak in a quick game or to not play at all, you tell me which one is going to make you better at chess. And trust me, after playing a few hundred games from start to finish, you begin to get a much better sense of the arc of the game and the patterns within it. So yeah, if you're trying to become a pro, maybe you shouldn't spend all your time on speed chess. Maybe you should be, I don't know, practicing your tantrums or something. Look, there will always be a place for slower chess. I will come clean, I actually love it. I have watched top-level tournaments where players take a half hour on a single move, and I will be on the edge of my seat the entire time. But I doubt I would have ever gotten interested in that kind of chess if it weren't for the messy adrenaline rush of its manic cousin. And honestly, no feeling I've ever had from playing slower games can compare to the feeling of searching for a move with your clock running down as the hustler talks trash on you and a small crowd looks on. So next time your significant other is taking their sweet time securing their carabiner, why not pull open your phone and join me online? Maybe we can even play a game together. I can't guarantee that it's going to be painless, but at the very least, it should be quick.
To the town of for a bullet. To the town of for a bullet.
Hello everyone. Oh, sorry about that. So I'm going to be analyzing this historic game between world champion Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura. So Magnus had the white pieces. He started with e4, e5. Now up to this point, it's been all theory, but this is going to be Magnus's first big decision he has to make. So he could go knight c3, h6, bishop b2, f6, d3, d6, b3, b6, bishop a3, a6, bishop b4, a5, bishop c5, and as you can see, the white bishop is trapped. He is going to be taken next turn, and this is not playable for white. So Magnus could also try a natural move like c3, but of course this leads to mate in 4 with queen h4, knight a3, knight f6, knight b1, knight g4, a4, queen takes f2, checkmate. So Magnus's only move here is to go king e2. Now, this is going to present a lot of tactical complications for Hikaru, so he could try something like bishop a3, b takes a3, queen h4, c4, queen g3, h takes g3, knight f6, f3, knight g4, f takes g4, d6, d3, bishop f5, e takes f5, g6, f takes g6, f6, g7, and then the rook is going to blockade on g8. Now, while the rook is able to stop the pawn, this pawn structure is going to be completely unstoppable in the endgame. It's called Alekhine's disco ball with 4 pawns and an open file. So this is something that Hikaru wants to avoid. So pause the video and see if you can figure out what move Hikaru had to play in this situation. So congratulations if you found it. Hikaru found king to e7. So Magnus's best try here would be to go knight f3, knight c6, knight g1, knight b8, knight f3, knight c6, knight g1, knight b8, knight f3, knight c6. And of course, this is just going to be a draw by a threefold repetition. So Magnus wants to avoid this if he can. So his best move is to fix the positional weakness that he has with his king on an unsafe square. So he's going to go ahead and play king to e1. Now Hikaru is going to do likewise because this is a symmetrical position, king to e8. Now this puts us in the same position we were in a move ago, and so all of the same analysis applies. Magnus is going to go back to e2, Hikaru is going to go back to e7, e1, e8, e2, and it was in this position that a draw was achieved when Hikaru completed the threefold repetition with e7. So this was obviously a phenomenal game, and a lot of you asked me to analyze it, so hopefully this was instructive and helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.